What's up, guys? Brandon here. It's been a fucking fat minute. And making his return since October 2019.
Just the Joker.
It's your boy, Log.
Logan Singleton.
So we got the legend back here. The boys are back in town. And this is a series I've been wanting to make for like, how long, bro?
Ever.
Like months.
Like fucking ever.
Dude. So Logan, me and him, we both really fuck with movies. We both want to eventually start, creating some of our own shorts, and get down to what we really want to do.
Yes.
But the only thing is, Logan is not very well versed in horror.
At all.
And I don't know, as some would know, I love horror. That's probably my favorite genre. That's what I grew up with. So this series basically is me showing my best bud all of my favorite horror movies, and basically we just get the idea of what he expects and what we end up thinking after, because I would like to see some too that I haven't seen before. Like, I got the whole Hitchcock collection that you had got me, and we need to see that because I've never seen any of Hitchcock. Today, you don't know what we're about to watch.
No.
So today, for the first movie that we're going to show in this series, we got Halloween.
Jesus Christ.
1978.
The
John
first.
Carpenter.
The very first.
The very first.
And you were the one that explained to me the other day about how weird Halloween 3 is. And then I told my coworkers about it, and they were like, which Halloween? And I was like, oh dear God, I forgot.
Really? There's only like over 20 of them now, so it's definitely easy to lose, especially if you're not familiar with it. What all do you know about Halloween, and what do you go in expecting for a 1978 movie made for $300,000?
$300,000.
For 1978.
So that's technically medium or low budget?
That's pretty low budget.
Pretty low budget.
Yeah, inflation, but still,
yeah,
that's less than $1 million.
I will say, I've yet to see a single scene from any of these movies. Just for the record, I have yet to see any of the Friday the 13th, any of Nightmare on Elm Street, any of the Halloweens. I've seen Jeepers Creepers. One. I've actually watched a good bit of Saw. Like, I love Saw.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't watched all of them entirely, but I think I've seen the first 3. Now, I expect great soundtrack from this because I know John Carpenter from The Thing, and
we showed you a little. Yeah, we showed you a little bit too of They Live.
I remember we started watching that, and I don't really I expect to see sort of the classic startup of how the horror sort of sets into you, how they build it, and how John goes about building Michael Myers' character.
And there's definitely a lot of cliches that were innovated from this movie.
Really?
Friday the 13th, I love it, but the first one is, for a lack of better terms, kind of like a Halloween remake.
Really?
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of similarities as far as the execution. At the root of, you could say just any horror movie made today, a lot of the horror cliches and what goes on in horror now, you can root back to 1978's Halloween. So I'm definitely excited for you to see it, just because, it's definitely a landmark in horror. And if we were to go chronologically, which would have been cool, but, when you're starting out with Dracula or whatever, that's cool, but you want to start out with the big hitters, and this is definitely one of those. So I'm excited for you to see it. So let's
it's gonna pack a punch, I believe.
Let's get right into it.
Yes, sir.
Where the fuck is the spaghetti?
Where the fuck is the spaghetti?
So
Okay, I say rating first. and then we'll just dive into it.
I'm interested, bro. So yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. We both got to give the ratings. We both have a letterbox, so, and I plan on making this a list on Letterboxd. So, for the first one, what would you rate it out of 5 stars?
Four and a half.
4.5. Okay, yeah,
4.5.
I would go with 5. I'm pretty sure my rating is a 5, but 4.5. I'm pleased to hear. I am pleased to hear. So, going in to Halloween 1978 completely without an idea of what was happening, what did you think about that whole 90 minutes?
Well, honestly, perfect thriller, not very cliche. I mean, I think if anything about it is cliche, it created its own genre of pop culture clichéness. Because I've noticed a lot of things in that movie that I've caught in other stuff before, but I'd never noticed. I will say, score very great, very omnipresent, and very thriller-esque. And the thing about it is that he knows how to keep you going on each scene. It's like there's beats to it. But the other thing is I felt there's some times where it was a little too repetitive. Maybe if he had slowed it down or something, or I think he used the right things in the right moments. I just think that he could have done a little bit something different. And that was my only stipulation with it. And my only other stipulation with it is I really don't like that Michael's fucking invincible. But here's why I get it. It's basically he's just, I mean, they said in the Boogeyman, or they kept saying the Boogeyman, you can't kill the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
And he literally is. But the thing about it is he's some sort of Halloween presence now.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of more akin to being some sort of, he's got a supernatural edge to him. Because even we were saying in the beginning, the amazing opening scene of that POV, with the way they shot it, it's almost like he's just sort of gliding through the area.
Right.
It's not
it's almost like a memory.
Steps. Yeah.
In a way.
And it's just, it's just, I was saying, you're just kind of like a ghost, it feels like almost, because you're just going through and there's no sort of, any human kind of rhythm of walking. He's just sort of gliding.
It's almost very alien. And then you get, it sort of sets you in the mind of the character, of the killer at first. And you don't get it until you see it pulls away and it's the kid, or Michael himself as a kid. And I think that's really what he was trying to shoot for there, is you get this sort of Offset vibe.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting too, is the audience in 78, we're for the most part, we've seen some crazy stuff in movies, we're somewhat desensitized to sort of the violence like that, and just the shocking nature. But when you're in 1978 and you're coming off of monster movies, where you have to go to Transylvania to experience the horror, to this where the horror's coming to your doorstep, and
following you all the way throughout. And
then you get that reveal at the end that this is a child. Around that time in the world, there was crazy shit popping off.
Yeah.
To where people are wow, maybe people just really are evil.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the vibe you get with the opening. It's just reinforces how unsafe life is anymore. I agree with what you said about the score, but it's just so iconic. I mean, they could play those 3 or 4 tracks throughout the whole film, and it'll still stimulate me.
It works.
It's just interesting, seeing you come into it, just seeing it for what it is, and it's gonna be exciting showing you the new ones.
Yeah.
Because I've just wondered how it will always be experiencing the original straight to this new trilogy that they're releasing.
And following the timeline.
I feel like it complements each other really well, because the people that are making the more modern day ones, they were fans of this. I grew up with this.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested.
And they
to show
didn't.
that.
They didn't like it whenever John Carpenter drank too much and started trying to work on his films.
Yeah, well, that's he didn't even want. Like I said, he wanted to do an anthology, but this one made so much money. They were like, bring Michael back for the second one. What else was some of your favorite parts? Like, did you?
Literally, one of my favorite parts was the Thing popping up, and even though it's like, it's literally like a foreshadowing of his own self.
Yeah.
It's so silly. But the thing is, the innocence of children in the film, it plays a weird role because like it kind of brings you back every time you like see somebody trying to protect a child.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character,
Lori.
like whenever she's very caring and all that. Like everybody else in the film, like her friends are trying to have a good time, and she is like paying to her responsibilities, and like it's sort of also if you look back like to the beginning of the film, Michael was left alone, and his sister was sort
fooling
of
around.
was fooling around, and then his parents were also gone doing whatever.
It's a very interesting dichotomy that is the theory in a lot of older horror movies is the final girl, you know, the girl that survives in the end is usually like a virgin or like she's really proper and is very present and not so much like a party girl.
Right, and
it's kind of like an analogy, like for premarital sex, you get killed or something. You know? It's kind of like that's always been sort of an underlying.
Well, and I also like I also noticed, not to sound like a creep, but with the children in the film, they were always in pairs or groups, and they were like always like very excitable and having fun and all that. In comparison to like Michael, he just had this terrible, terrible night, and all he does is like think about wreaking havoc. But like, I don't know, but like his demeanor is always changing. It's like he knows what he wants, but like whenever he killed all those people and got her to go over there, somehow he knew whenever she would walk in, like she would find all of his stuff, like all of his murder and all that. But I think it was like choreographed very well, like blocked very well for shit like that.
Yeah, and especially like the lighting they done with his face appearing in the shadow.
That was the proper
I mean,
shot.
they literally had a whole method as to his, you know, face to sort of appear. Like he didn't even walk into it, just the way it was lit, it just brightened on his face, and it was so well done. One thing I will say, and I'm still not even gonna negate points just because it's so fucking great, but the paces you do get at the end during this whole ending bam 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 does kind of, I don't know,
it's a little jarring.
That's what I was thinking. It's a little, you know, because I was comparing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the last 30-40 minutes of it is literally batshit insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm not even asking for that, but sort of that rampant tension. When you keep coming down and coming back on to that sort of like intensity, it just kind of lessens the more it happens. But I mean, just the sound, the breathing that they had added
the
for
sound
Michael,
design was very good.
It very
appreciated
well
it
done.
very well.
The physicality of Nick Castle, the dude that played Michael Myers.
Yes.
I mean, very on point. Just him rising up and then that so robotic.
It's so like I like to think of it as alien, like just no sentience. There's no conscience behind it. Like
it's like a machine. Bro.
Yeah, it's literally like a fucking killing machine. But the thing is there's no logical reasoning behind it. It's just sort of you're watching it and you're sort of trying to figure out the reasoning behind it, but really in the end there is none. It's just almost mindless murder behind just a cold death stare.
I was very surprised though of how much the ending is held up. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen it in a while.
It's very theatrical, especially with the doctor's character.
Yeah, Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
a very good actor.
Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
his that scene is probably still one of my favorite scenes in the film. Him talking about his eyes and being,
Yeah, that was like
very
encapsulating.
very great. Yeah, just the way he read it, just his words, and each line was just kind of rhyming with the other. It was just very well done. So that was the first showing of Showing Logan all these horror films. 4.5 stars. I say that's a pretty solid opener. So
Is it 4.5?
yes.
Just knock the thumb out of it.
Mm-hmm. So for our next one, shit, I don't know what we're gonna watch. We can definitely find something. So we'll keep this rolling for October, and hopefully roll until you see all the shit you need to see.
Yeah, finally.
So I'll link our letterboxes below. Y'all should give us a follow on there. And thank you guys, if anyone sticked around this long.